Strap into your metallic uniframe superhybrid armor, folks, because we're blasting off into space. The year 1990 saw the modest release of Suit Leynos, one of the finest mecha games for the Mega Drive that I can think of. In Suit Leynos, you take control of Rex, a mech pilot who is charged with defending Earth from an alien invasion. One thing that sets Suit Leynos apart from every other mech game is that it has a very elaborate storyline that feels almost like watching an animated show, such as Robotech or Macross, or any other good space drama show. As in any good show, you have a cast of characters and a series of missions which you must accomplish. Accomplishing these missions or failing to do them will determine whether or not you get the good ending of the game or the bad ending. Now, in essence, Suit Leynos is a very simple game. You have a certain amount of weapons and ammo assigned to your buttons, and you have missions during each of these levels, which you will be briefed on. These range from protecting a certain base or a certain place against enemy attacks, stopping assault carriers from invading territory, or invading enemy territory and getting past the enemy lines. The game is very easy to control, which is a good thing, as the difficulty is nothing short of brutal. This game does not spare the enemies and firepower thrown in your general direction. So if you're in for a real challenge, you should pick up this game. Believe it or not, Suit Leynos was actually localized in the Western market. However, they couldn't have chosen a more generic title, at least as far as I'm concerned. In the West, Suit Leynos is known as Target Earth, and several changes were made to the localization, such as removing any romantic situations, and one particular scene during an escape chase in which one of the pilots gets burnt to death. Now, these changes were fairly common at that time, and the one thing that kind of sets this game apart from others is that the order in which the game comes out is not linear at all. They kind of come out at a unlinear prequel-sequel sort of order. The sequel to this game, Suit Vulcan, actually takes place several years before, and was released on the Super Famicom, also released on the Super Nintendo, and it was localized as Cybernator, which is completely different from the original title. So most people did not relate Cybernator with Target Earth, which was originally Suit Leynos, and the confusion just goes on and on. Additionally, a sequel to Suit Vulcan was released. However, this was actually a strategy game rather than a side-scrolling action game. So, it was completely different in style, although it was set in a similar universe and in a different time frame. And unfortunately, this version for the PlayStation was never localized. It was only released in Japan, and still remains unreleased in the West. Now, as good as Suit Leynos is, I think they really nailed it with the sequel, Suit Leynos 2. This game deserves a lot more attention. Now, between the Mega Drive and the Saturn, you can obviously see the leap in quality. The robots have more moves, they're more detailed, you can have more enemies on the screen, and naturally, larger, more menacing sprites. I've mentioned several times before that I'm a huge fan of giant robots, and this is one of my favorites, which from time to time I like to bring out and play. Like its predecessor, Assault Suit Leynos 2 is a very difficult game, but it's very easy to control, and this time around you can assign specific buttons for your specific attacks and weapons. Now, since the Saturn has 6 buttons, you can assign each of these buttons to a weapon of your choice. They also added in a very nifty punch, which packs a pretty powerful punch, so to say, but it's in limited quantities, so it must be used wisely. While not the most popular game, Assault Suit Leynos was actually popular enough to get a small following, and there are a number of plastic figures or plastic model kits that you can actually find. Which goes to show that no matter how popular or how niche a game can be, it will always have a dedicated fan base. So, if you're a fan of giant robots, well, let these screens speak more than I can. Assault Suit Leynos. You owe it to yourself.